Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. Back again with another live stream. A lot to discuss. Some updates from the Athletic. David Onstein, Ghana blog today, including the latest on a midfield, including the latest on a winger, the latest on a goalkeeper, and a lot of departures that are expected. We'll be covering all that. Let me know where you're watching from, how you're doing today. Today's Tuesday, right? Today, Tuesday afternoon, wherever you're watching from. And without wasting any time at all, let me say hi to you guys first. RK, how are you? You can see in the chat already. Danish, how are you? Ranking, how are you? Mark, how are you? Thank you for being here again. Adesina, how are you? Eddie, how are you? Iranius, thank you for being here again. Let's start with the latest on Mikel Merino. Now, for me, as I've always said, I want us to get a midfielder. That is my priority. I want us to get a midfielder first and then get a striker, because, you never know. If you go into next season again and then Partey gets another injury, then you're forced to use Jorginho and Rice every single day. It messes up whatever you're trying to do, because I always imagine if Partey was playing as a number 6 last season throughout the season, if he wasn't injured, maybe they've discovered Rice, attacking ability early in the season and have been playing as a number 8 from beginning of the season. But you're basically forced to play Rice as a number 6 and Jorginho for most of the season, and he didn't really have anyone else to rotate from the bench because even El Neni was injured. So midfield is very important. We've been linked to players like Bruno Guimaraes, but that one is very hard to get. It's 100 million plus. Joao Neves from Benfica, very hard to get, too expensive, like 110 million or something, way too expensive. So we'll be linked to players like Fofana, players like Zubimendi. Zubimendi does not want to come to the Premier League, so that one is off as well. But his teammate could be on his way to the Premier League. So he did score the winning goal against Germany the other day. Spain against Germany, he came on and scored the winning goal. And this is the latest on Mikel Merino, according to Ghana blog. Arsenal want a central midfielder. One player of interest is Real Sociedad's Mikel Merino. Mikel is an admirer of his talent and physicality. Merino turned 28 in June, which would place him outside of Arsenal's typical recruitment profile. The relative youth of the squad, however, means they can add more experienced players when required, as they did with Jorginho and Leandro Trossard. So the second part of that, I do agree. Chelsea have this thing about not signing anyone above the age of 25 at all. But for us, we're not like that. We do have a lot of young players in the team, but we still have space to bring in some more experienced players. Like, we have a lot of young players, Martinelli, Saka, even Odegaard is young, Saliba is young, all of those players are young. The ones we have in the middle kind of age are the likes of Rice heading there, Odegaard, Ray, and those kind of players, 26, 27 there. And then you have a couple of older ones. I say older ones, but not too old, like 35 or 36 or anything like that. Not that that is all, but in football it is old. The likes of Partey, 30s, Jorginho 30s, and Trossard as well. I think he just turned 30 or something. So those are the only players that we have that are really older in terms of football. We don't really have that many. So we do have space to bring in a couple of experienced players, 29-year-old, 28-year-old, absolutely no problem, because we still have a good balance. The problem is with football, if you have too many older players, like Croatia, for example, at the Euros, you will struggle if most of your players are above that and you don't have any younger players. And then if you also have too many youngsters in the team and no experienced player like Chelsea the last couple of seasons, you will struggle. You have to have a balance, even if it means 70% younger ones and then 30% experience. I think that is enough, and that is great for us. So Ghana blog, at the beginning part of that, they said Arsenal are interested in a midfielder, and Mikel Merino is the one. Now, the reason why he's wanted, talent and physicality. Now, I'll tell you the main reason why Arteta wants Mikel Merino: duels. Mikel Merino won the most duels in all the leagues last season. Look at this stat. This is absolutely crazy. Last season, 23-2024, Europe's top 7 leagues, duels won. Mikel Merino is number 1 in the whole of the top 5 leagues. He won 326 duels. Kudus is second, and then we have players like Bruno Guimaraes we've been linked to, and then players like Paulinho we've been linked to before, but not too many players that we've been linked to there. But duels are very important, and he won 326 of them last season, way more than the rest. Actually, from the gap between him and the second one is a whole 29 duels won. So that's a really, really good number. So when they're talking about Arteta wants Mikel Merino because of physicality and all that, you can see why. He can win his duels in midfield. And if you have a situation where you have Mikel Merino and Rice both in midfield at the same time, Rice is very strong at tackles, very strong at interceptions, very strong at carrying the ball and all that. And then you have Mikel Merino, who can, jump over midfielders like this and just win aerial duels and ground duels and battle for every single second ball in the air, in the ground, and try to, basically keep the other midfielders for the opposition teams quiet. That can work out. But he is 28, as I've said. I don't think that's much of a worry. He's still a very good player, as we've seen for Spain. For him, though, we have to wait and see after the Euros what happens. His teammate does not want to come to us, to the Premier League. Arsenal doesn't want to come to the Premier League. That is Zubimendi. But he does play with Mikel Merino in the midfield, and Mikel Merino is very strong. In terms of other strong suits, they say his key passes and tackling in midfield, very, very strong as well. So he needs someone who can... the thing with having Eze, for example, as we said yesterday, and many of you said you want Eze. If you have Eze and Odegaard and Declan Rice in midfield, Eze wants to attack, Odegaard wants to attack, and Rice wants to push the ball forward. You're basically left with no... if Rice does push forward, like who's going to cover for him? If you have Partey and Rice together in midfield, if Partey goes forward for a couple of times, Rice knows, okay, Partey has gone forward, let me come back and cover for him. But would Eze or Odegaard do that? If Rice went forward, would Eze come back and cover for him? That is a problem. So you're not really sure about that. But a player like Mikel Merino, if you have him with a combination of Declan Rice in that midfield, like he can push forward a couple of times and score goals, and then he can come back sometimes and just stay in that midfield as a pivot with Rice or Partey, whoever is on the pitch at that time. And he could be very strong for us. Arteta loves duels. He always talks about winning your duels in midfield. And if you win your duels and you win your midfield battles, especially in midfield, if you win your midfield battles, you've basically won the game, because the other team will not get too many chances. The other team will not, create too many chances. You'll get through past their midfield very easily if your midfield is strong. And our midfield, I think, is strong with Rice and Odegaard and Partey. But then if you add someone there like a Mikel Merino, that would be great. As I said, he did score the winning goal against Germany a few days ago at the Euros, and his team is currently playing in the semi-final. They're actually playing tonight. So if Mikel Merino comes on or starts, make sure to keep an eye on him. They're playing against France today, so let's see how he does in that midfield against players like N'Golo Kante in that midfield. So Mikel Merino is the first player that has been mentioned in today's release from the Athletic. By Ghana Blog. This one specifically is from Ghana Blog. We admire him because of his talent, physicality, aerial duels, passing ability in midfield, and he has no significant weaknesses, so that is great. The only thing is that he's 28 years of age. I don't think that is too much of an issue. I think that's the same with Kimmich. 28, 29 is fine. They can still give you a good 4 years. It's not like when you're signing players like Willian, 30-something, and they can only give you 1 season, that becomes a problem. But a player like this, I think 27, 28 is the prime. So if you're 27, 28, that is your prime. And you still have like 5-6 years to go. If you take care of your body and take care of everything, you're still going to be a very good player. So Mikel Merino we'll see what will happen with him after Spain probably win the Euros. I did say Netherlands are going to win the Euros from day one, but I'm starting to think it's going to be Spain. But let's see. I don't think they're going to be eliminated today. But if they do, let's see. France are capable of anything. If they do get eliminated, let's see what Mikel Merino and Arsenal will do. We had that Arteta personally called him phone to phone, like he called Mikel Merino and told him, listen, I want you at Arsenal. Can you join me? I have this project for you, this and that. Let's see what happens. Now, he's not the only player that is linked to Arsenal from the La Liga. Another one is Lunin. We are back talking about him again. Remember, we talked about Lunin a couple of weeks ago, the Real Madrid goalkeeper who's the second choice after Courtois. Arsenal are looking for a second choice goalkeeper and have made a call to Real Madrid's Andrea Lunin. However, Espanyol's Juan Garcia remains the club's preferred option. So they did say if Juan Garcia doesn't work out or if they ask for too much money, it will be Lunin. The Lunin one is a bit of a weird one because he's a Real Madrid goalkeeper, and Courtois having picked up a few injuries here and there, and Kepa is about to leave Real Madrid. Like being a second choice goalkeeper at Real Madrid, I think many people will prefer that than being a backup at any other team. I think many people will prefer playing for Real Madrid. And if Lunin, if Courtois gets another injury or Courtois leaves, Andrea Lunin is the goalkeeper, is going to be their goalkeeper. And I've seen a lot of their fans talking, and he's very good. He had a very good campaign last season, especially in the Champions League. Lunin, overall last season, he played 21 La Liga games. He played 31 games in all competitions. He made in the Champions League against Leipzig, he made 9 saves in one game. Against Man City, he made 8 saves in one game in that, I think, semi-final. Against Man City, he made, I think, quarterfinal, semi-final, something like that. I think semis. I think it was quarters. Wait, it was quarters, right? It was quarters. Yeah, because we eliminated in the quarters and Man City eliminated in the quarters. So against Man City in the quarters, he made 8 saves in one specific game. And last season, he made a lot of appearances and he was very good. That the Real Madrid fans are not complaining about Lunin. They were like, listen, if Courtois retires, this is going to be our goalkeeper. He is very good. He's a Ukrainian international. He's very good at shot stopping. That is a very strong suit, just like Ramsdale a couple of seasons ago. In terms of shot stopping, he is very good. Concentration levels are very good. People will argue Ramsdale's, that is not Ramsdale's strong point. But what would be the reason for him to come and be a backup goalkeeper? I think if you're just going to go and be a backup goalkeeper at a different team, you'd rather just stay at Real Madrid and be a backup, unless you're promising him to come and be a first choice goalkeeper in your team. And that is not possible. We've just signed David Raya as a first choice goalkeeper. The only other way we could have gotten Lunin if his Raya went back to Brentford, and it didn't happen. Raya signed for us on a 27 million pound permanent deal. So Lunin is a hard one. So the other one for Juan Garcia could happen as well. We've also been linked to a couple of other goalkeepers, including the Wolves one, Bentley. So let's see what happens with that one. But yeah, that news has come out today as well. Back in the mix, Lunin, the Real Madrid goalkeeper, we are linked to him. Man, we are linked to goalkeepers a lot. We're linked to goalkeepers so many times. I think if we get a second choice goalkeeper this time and Raya's already signed, let's hope for the next couple of seasons we don't hear about goalkeepers anymore. There's been a lot. Over the last 5 seasons, we've heard about goalkeepers a lot. There's a time it was Leno and Martinez, who's going to stay, who's going to leave. Martinez left. And then after a season, we had that Leno is wanted by a different team. Is Ramsdale going to replace Leno? We heard about Ramsdale joining us from Sheffield United. And then a few seasons later, Raya and Ramsdale, and then Raya, is he going to sign a permanent deal or not? We've heard about goalkeepers the last 5 years straight, 6, 7 different goalkeepers. It's been even Turner, can add him on that list. It's been so much. So hopefully you can get a second choice goalkeeper, and that is done for the next couple of seasons, and you can focus on other positions. That would be great. So that's the latest in terms of the La Liga players. We'll be talking about another one, but let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. Hi, Mark. Let me do this. I haven't forgotten today. Let's see. Timothy says, hi, how are you? Ganas for Life says, Seydu, good evening, Awal. James, how are you as well? Hadso, how are you as well? Hope you're doing good, having been busy finally. I'm here. Thank you for being here as always, Hadzo. Hello, any development, please? We're covering that right now. Eddie says, patiently waiting for updates from Uganda. Danish, how are you? You're watching on X. Interesting. Getting you live from Seychelles, says Chanzera, thank you for watching. Watching from Cape Town, says Alex, thank you for watching. Johanna from Taraba State, thank you for watching. Hudson says, big shout out to you, Glenn. Keep updating us. We're back here to continue our Arsenal Fabrizio Romano. Definitely. Thank you. Benson watching from Uganda. Thank you. Emerson says, what about his club teammate Zubimendi? Zubimendi, I think, is going to stay at Real Sociedad. He's already said he's comfortable there. Does not really want to move on to the Premier League. So that one is not going to happen. I don't think so. Zubimendi is going to stay there. Players like Zubimendi and players like that, usually when they leave Sociedad, they go to a Real Madrid. And Zubimendi, I feel, no, it is not Zubimendi. There's another player who played, I think he's called Mendy. I think he played for Real Madrid. Yeah, I think there's a player who played for Sociedad and Real Madrid back in the day. Those kind of players usually play from Real Madrid. They go to Atletico, they go to teams like that after they move on from Sociedad or Betis or those kind of teams. And thank you, Kevin, for watching. Dan says the striker situation has gone very quiet. Do you think Partey's priorities? I still think you're going to sign a striker, but I think in terms of Osimhen and Gyökeres, it's a matter of waiting for those teams to drop their prices. The video I've just recorded is coming out after I finish this live stream. I've talked about the striker situation and the players we've been linked to and how I feel about the players we could get in terms of striker. I still feel you're going to get a striker, but you have to wait for a couple of weeks. I think you're going to get Calafiori done, and then listen, Calafiori could be done, but you could actually hear a certain other player signing before Calafiori, because before Calafiori does his medical. It could be fast. Like last season, Rice, Timber were announced with back-to-back days, and Havertz had just been announced a week before. So I think it's going to be quick. The moment you hear about the first signing, it's going to be very quick within the next 2-3 signings as well. Thanks, Claire. for the update, and thank you, Peter, for watching. Dan says the striker situation has gone quiet. Do you think Atta has decided that a striker is not a priority? Depends on how much we have and if he feels like there's enough strikers who are available. I'm not kidding you. I've looked at the strikers that are available. I think it's literally just Osimhen and Gyökeres and maybe one more. All the other strikers, there's none that we can say that is coming to improve us completely. Like nothing like that. Like it's very, very difficult to say. I would want Watkins, I would want Isaac, but we are not going to pay 130 million. So it's either we get Osimhen or Gyökeres or go for a striker that we've not heard about in terms of Arsenal being linked. Harrison says, good evening, guys. Harrison from Nigeria. Thank you for watching. Andy says, full of fake news. Thank you for watching, Andy. Whatever makes you happy. RK says, please subscribe and smash the like button. Let's see. Fred says, watching you from Zambia, Lusaka. Thank you for watching. Shadrach says, hi, watching from Malawi. We have a lot of countries here. Nigeria, Oluwasegun. Dennis says, what happened to the striker from Sporting? I think it's a matter of Arsenal waiting for those teams to drop their price. Julia says, hi, I'm from Uganda. Please, at least we need 3 more signings, midfielder, wing, and striker. I agree. Those 3 positions. Glenn, how are you watching from Zambia? And thank you for watching, Clifford. James is watching from New Jersey. Thank you for watching. And RK is watching from USA. Thank you for watching as well. Glenn, same name. Looks like Chris Smith Rowe is leaving. Sad to see. Yeah, looking likely. Let's see though. Let's see what is going to happen. Let's go to the rest of the news. Let's start with this one from Nico Williams. Nico Williams, what's the latest on Nico Williams? According to reports from Ghana blog, from the Athletic deal sheet that has come today, it says if Arsenal are going to sign a wide player, Nico Williams would be Mikel Arteta's free preference. So we have been linked to two or three wingers, players like Neto. Most of you don't want Neto. I wouldn't take Neto as well. Too many injuries unless they're giving us for 10 million. We've been into like 2 or 3 wingers, but Nico Williams is the one that has been discussed a lot. And as Ghana blogger said, if we are going to sign a winger, it's going to be Nico Williams. Now, Nico Williams, just like Merino, is doing very well at the Euros, but we also have to wait and see. And we have to wait until Spain get knocked out or win the tournament, whatever it's going to be, and then you're going to hear more developments on this. The Nico Williams one, I can't lie to you, I am not very confident, just as I said about Zubimendi. Those players in Spain, they prefer staying there. If Barcelona or Madrid want Nico Williams, he's not going to come to the Premier League. He'll say, listen, I'm just going to go to Real Madrid. You know, this is where my family is. My brother's at Bilbao. I don't want to go too far from that. Let me stay in Spain. My dream has always been to play for Barcelona and to play for Real Madrid. Those teams want him, it's a problem. You're not going to get him. You're not going to get him ahead of Barcelona or Real Madrid, especially those Spanish players who want to stay there. It becomes very, very difficult. So you just have to look for a different option, unless Barcelona don't have money to buy him, or he randomly decides like, hey, listen, I actually prefer Arsenal to Barcelona. Then that would be great. That would be great if he does join us. He's absolutely incredible in terms of what he's done for Spain. The way I see him like running past defenders, the fullbacks at the Euros, like they're not there. Like he's been very good. Like him and Yamal, they've been very good this tournament, and Spain are looking for us to win the tournament. And the next video I'm going to post, I'm going to be talking about Nico Williams in detail. But we have been linked to him. Last season, he had more assists than goals. I think it was something like, is it 17 assists or something like that? I don't remember the number accurately. I had it written down, but I have so much written down I can't remember. But yeah, he gets more assists than goals. And at the Euros, you're seeing him scoring some incredible goals, some incredible assists as well in the tournament. And his pace, really good. The other question is, are we really looking for a left winger as our priority? Because we already have Trossard and Martinelli. If Nico Williams comes to Arsenal, is he going to play on the right side, or is he going to play on the left side? And then you're going to have to sell Trossard or Martinelli, or because I don't like Trossard or Martinelli on the right side, to be honest. I've seen Trossard playing for Belgium on the right side. I don't like it. I've seen Martinelli playing for us a couple of times on the right side. I don't like it neither. So it becomes a problem. I don't like any of those players on the right side. But listen, there's no problem with having squad depth. Squad depth is very important. If you have all of those players and you're looking at your bench and you have, Nico Williams, and you have Trossard on the bench, and today Martinelli is on the bench, that's great. Because if you look at Man City, for example, Man City can bring off the bench Stones, 50 million, Gvardiol, 75, 80 million. They can bring in Doku, 50 million. So maybe we need to do the same in terms of that. Now, the latest on players who could move out, the Athletic reported that five or six players have been put on the transfer list by Arsenal, and those three that you can see on screen are part of that. They did say a necessary part of that is selling players Aaron Ramsdale, Thomas Partey, Emil Smith-Rowe, Edin Nketiah, and Nelson are all on the transfer list. So those three, plus Reece Nelson and Aaron Ramsdale, are all on the transfer list. Now, it's a weird one because we've had teams wanting Nketiah, 2 or 3 teams. The likes of Fulham, Crystal Palace, same with Smith-Rowe, 2-3 teams. We know Partey is wanted by Saudi Arabia. Nelson is wanted by Wolves, Crystal Palace, and a few other teams as well. Ramsdale, we've not had any team putting money on the table for Ramsdale, which is a weird one. So, but the fact that we are looking at so many goalkeepers makes me think that Ramsdale is definitely going to move on. I'd be very surprised if he stays. So those 5-6 players have been put on the transfer list. As I told you guys, we're going to talk about Zinchenko as well, but I don't think Zinchenko is on the transfer list. I went personally to Man City and got Jesus and Zinchenko. I don't think he's going to sell them after 2 seasons. I think Zinchenko is going to be here next season, and Kiwi is going to be the one to leave. But in terms of outgoings, those 5 players we've just mentioned, Ramsdale, Smith-Rowe, Partey, Nelson, and Nketiah, the 3 Haaland boys plus Partey and Ramsdale, there's a huge chance at least 3 of them are going to leave. But I'm going to predict at least 2 of them stay just as bench players. So if you're to ask me, I would like to keep Partey and Smith-Rowe first. I think Nketiah will. I'm not going to say definitely. I'd not be surprised. The first 2 preseason games, because there's not too much business that has happened yet. And in the first preseason games, the likes of Saka and Rice are not going to be back yet. They're going to be on their holidays when you play against Bournemouth and Man United. I think we could see the likes of Nketiah and Smith-Rowe feature in those games. And then maybe later on, don't be surprised if Nketiah left Arsenal on August 31st on deadline day. Don't be surprised if he actually started the season as an Arsenal player, depending on the teams that want them, because we are asking for 30 million plus for Nketiah, for Smith-Rowe, Nelson, I think around 20-something million. We haven't really said how much we want for Partey or Ramsdale. What we were told is that Arsenal not really forcing Partey out, and they're not really keen on Partey's not really keen on moving. But if we get a good offer, they are going to move on. So let's see how that one develops with these boys, the Haaland boys. Who's going to leave first? If I was going to predict who's going to leave first, who do you guys think is going to leave first out of those 5 players? Who do you think will be the first to leave Arsenal? I'm going to predict. This is so tough. I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict Reece Nelson will be the first one to leave. I'll not be surprised if Smith-Rowe is, but I'm going to say I think Nelson will be the first one to leave. So difficult to predict. Very, very difficult to predict. Come back to your comments for a few again. Joseph says, how about that player from Watford? Rumors say that he can be a backup for Saka. You're talking about Asprey. I saw that. Let's see how that one develops. Yes, we are linked to a player called Asprey from Watford. Could be a backup for Saka. Let's wait and see how that one develops. There hasn't been any concrete news yet. That's why I've not talked about it. Dan says real news, but unfortunately we don't sign every player we're interested in. That is the truth. Yeah. Someone said fake news. There's no fake news. That is why I put screenshots for you on the screen. I don't just say it from the head. This is where the news came from, for example, with Merino. Now, yes, you're going to be linked to 20, 25 players, but you're not going to be getting all of them. Right now, it's not just Arsenal. Right now, Chelsea are linked to 20 players. United are linked to 20 players. United are linked to Branthwaite, to Delete, to all of those defenders. They're not going to get all of them. Man City are linked to a couple of players. Liverpool are linked to players like Nico Williams as well. They haven't signed anyone as well. Every team is going to be linked to players. Some of the news comes from the team. Some of the news just comes from the media, and some people do guesswork and they just bring up news and, they put 2 and together and they're like, okay, if this player is this and Arsenal want this, let's say Arsenal want them. Yeah, it happens, but you're not going to get all of them. But these days, it's actually better than what it used to be 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we used to be linked to 60 players. And we knew at least 58 of them, we were not going to get them, whether it's because of the price, whether it was because of the position that we were in the league or whatever. These days, the players that you're linked to, you're like, yeah, we can get them, why can't we get Merino? Why can't we try and fight with Liverpool for Nico Williams? Why can't we try, it's not outrageous. We're not coming here to say that Arsenal wants Mbappe. We know that is not going to happen. You're not coming to say Arsenal wants Salah. We know that one is not going to happen. It's just the realistic ones. As Dan says, we're not going to get all of them, hopefully, from the players that we've been linked to seriously. We're going to get at least 3 of them, hopefully. Shadrach says, Glenn, tell me about preseason games. We're going to play Bournemouth first, and then Man United, and then Liverpool. That is in the USA. And then we're going to play in the Emirates Cup against Lyon, and then Bayer Leverkusen. Some tough teams, man. Some really tough teams, actually. It's not easy, those preseason games. I actually do miss the older preseason games, to be honest. Back in the day, used to play Celtic, and then Arsenal used to go to China, and then we play Chinese All-Stars or something. And then we go to Australia, we play an Australian team. And then maybe we go to Scotland, we play Rangers. Those teams that we don't really usually play, I usually prefer those kind of preseason games against teams that you don't always play against. Like a Leverkusen is great. We don't always play against Leverkusen. That is a great fixture, even Lyon. But we are playing against Bournemouth, Liverpool, and Man United in the USA, 3 teams that you're also going to play against in the league twice each. I know why they're doing that. I think they actually, first of all, take it to the USA because of more money there. More exposure, and I think they also take it there because they take it to those stadiums because of the tickets, and they play Premier League teams like Man United and Liverpool and Chelsea and those guys because more exposure and they get more money and all that. I think that is why they play those teams. But yeah, we are playing Man United again in preseason, just like we did last season. We're going to play Liverpool. I think it's starting on the 25th or something. I think it's on a Thursday, around there, 25th and 6th on a Thursday there. That's when you're going to play one of those teams. And those games are very late at night. Since they're in the USA, they're going to be like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. for most of the people watching. Bomb says, which midfielders are still going for? Please, we really need to get a midfielder. Merino has been linked. Asprey is the guy from Watford, and he looks like a great prospect, but he's still very raw. I agree. Michael says, I'm watching from Ghana, but Arsenal needs a wing and a striker. I agree as well. Lloyd says, my brother Glenn, FC Barcelona president Laporta did say they want Nico, but are waiting for a few players to leave before they buy him. One of the few players they want to leave is Rafinha. They want to sell Rafinha to Arsenal potentially, and then they use that money to get Nico Williams. But yeah, there's players like Kunde who've been linked to the move away. Araujo has been linked to the move away. I don't see him moving, especially after he was promised his dream move. As I said, I'm going to be honest with Nico Williams. I think he's going to end up at Barcelona, especially if Barcelona gather the cash for him. Many players would prefer to stay in Spain. Merino won't be a bad player for us. He's good on football. His fire, says Lerato. Hope we were looking for a striker that should score 25 goals and above. City will still have Haaland and us with Jesus and Kai, says Malak. Watkins is the guy for us, says coach. That would be my dream signing, but that one is definitely not going to happen. In the Champions League now, Aston Villa have a good project going on, and for Watkins, they would literally tell you something like 150 million, and they're not even budge. They'll tell you 150 million plus add-ons after that. So that one is not going to happen. I wanted Watkins when he was at Brentford. That was a long time ago when we were poor, 2020, around that time. I wanted Watkins, but he ended up moving to Aston Villa for 50 million or something. And people are like, Watkins from Brentford, a championship team, for 50 million. But you can see how good he is. But if you get Gyökeres or Osimhen or any of those players, it's the same. Can you compare Merino and Eze based on availability and quality? I mean, different positions. Merino is more of a central midfielder coming back as a defensive midfielder. Eze is going to give you more attacking. So if you're looking for someone to play in the number 8 role, Arteta would want Merino first because he can do the defensive work more than the attacking work. Eze would give you the attacking work. In terms of availability, I'm not 100% sure how many games Merino has played over the last few years, but I think it's almost the same. I don't think any of them missed too many games at all. And Eze is not really injury prone. He's picked up a couple of injuries, but in terms of what we need and the positions that we need, I think Arteta would go for Merino because you already have players who can do what Eze does. And we don't have too many players who can do what Merino does in midfield. Deg Oyewusi says, hi Glenn, this Calafiori deal, please was stalling the progress. I'm getting a vibe it might not thrive. No, nice rhyming, by the way, but Calafiori is already an Arsenal player. He's already an Arsenal player. We were told the next 24 to 48 hours. It's now around 36 hours since we were told that. So let's wait and see between now and the end of the dot is going to happen. He's going to be an Arsenal player, Calafiori. There's no other team that is involved in the deal. Arsenal and And which team is he coming from? Bologna, finalizing the deal. He's going to be an Arsenal player. Right now, I'm even looking at other targets. He's going to be an Arsenal player. Calafiori is already an Arsenal player. Nothing is going. The only thing that can happen is failing medical, and that is rare. That is not going to happen. But the player is currently on holiday. We have to wait for the player to come back, and then he will be an Arsenal player after that. Bologna and Arsenal have already agreed on a 50 million euro fee. They just are doing the structure and how they're going to pay and what, installments and all that. Calafiori is already an Arsenal player. Don't worry about that. Calafiori is already an Arsenal player. We are now waiting for other targets. Yes, it's not been announced yet, but it's going to be announced very soon. Arsenal need Osimhen to win the league, says Alex. Interesting. Joseph says I just long for Arsenal Leverkusen. That would be a good game, for sure. Arsenal Leverkusen, even playing against Xhaka, playing against Lyon, Lacazette is there, Maitland-Niles is there, playing against those guys. Those will be good games. Yeah, playing against Man United, Bournemouth, those are teams we're used to playing every single time. But yeah, hopefully we have a good preseason. When you have a good preseason, it usually carries over to the season. Not all the time, but for us, the last few seasons it has. The season where we lost to Brentford the first game and lost 5-0 to Man City and all that, we had lost to, I think, Rangers and drawn with the Banyan and lost to Tottenham and Chelsea in preseason, and we carried that form over to the league. The last 2 seasons, as you've seen, we beat Chelsea in preseason by 4-0. We beat Sevilla by 6-0, and then we carried that over to the new season. And then last season as well, despite losing to Man United, we won majority of the rest of the games, and we carried that form over to the season. So let's hope we have a good preseason. Chuck says, bro, I've been following for a long now. Thank you, but I don't know what you see in Ollie Watkins. Really? You don't rate Ollie Watkins. Arsenal don't need that kind of striker you often mention about Watkins. Wow. Nah, I think Watkins is very good. I think if you give Watkins the chances, he'll definitely get you 20+ goals. Now, in terms of overall, you might argue Osimhen, Watkins. You could say Osimhen, fine. You could say Isaac is better, fine. But is Watkins better than what we have in terms of strikers? I think the answer is very easily yes. So for me, I'm going according to what we have. Even strikers not even actually my priority, as I've been saying. I want a midfielder first and then get a striker. And if you're going to get a striker, I don't want us to get a striker worth 10 million. I want us to get a striker who's going to improve the team. There's not too many strikers who can do that, apart from very few. Gyökeres, Isaac, Watkins, players like that, who can improve the team and take us to the next level. And Watkins definitely would. Watkins is incredible, man. I don't know why you have that suggestion, actually, that opinion. Watkins was almost top in terms of goals, and I think he had the most assists or something as well on top of that. That is double-figure goals, double-figure assists, and that is without taking penalties. He doesn't even take penalties. If he was taking Aston Villa penalties, he would have been on like 28, 29 Premier League goals last season. So Watkins is great. And just if you need an answer to that as well, just watch Watkins against Arsenal 3-4 different times. Last season, home and away, just go and watch those games. 3 seasons ago, when they beat us 3-0 at home, go and watch what Watkins did to us in that game. Just watch what Watkins has done to us. Watkins is one of the few players to actually pass Saliba and score a goal against us. The time we beat them 4-2, I think he scored like a good 5 goals against us, Watkins, and he's been very good in all of those games. So Watkins is great. Dan says Spain or France tonight. Spain. I prefer Spain. I've always liked Spain since 2008. I was even supporting them when they won the World Cup in 2010. But I think they're very strong. But France can do it. Listen, France with Mbappe and Conte, they can just turn up one day and they can beat you. But my prediction at the beginning of the tournament was Netherlands to win. It looks likely it could actually happen. I'm surprised it didn't. There was a lot of people saying Netherlands will not get anywhere. My prediction right now for the final is Spain against Netherlands, but I know there's a couple of English people watching this. Anything can happen, though. Anything can happen. But many people are predicting any of those 2 teams to win. Please, Glenn, any update on Gyökeres? I noticed the news about him just went down the radar. The last thing we had is that Gyökeres is happy to join Arsenal, but Arsenal are waiting for Sporting and Napoli to drop the prices for Osimhen and Gyökeres. So we have to wait and see. I don't think you're going to pay that 100 million. On a scale of 10, we want players to give us an 8-9 every game. It's time for us to add on Rice. Yeah, 8 out of 10. Let's have 8 out of 10. 9 out of 10 is very hard. 9 out of 10 is Declan Rice levels. But yeah, if you're getting, even 7 is not that bad, Lloyd. If you get a player average, they give you 7 out of 10 every time. Like Declan Rice on a bad day, Declan Rice on a bad day, they would, he'd still give you a 7 out of 10. I saw Declan Rice last time, 10 out of 10 on a bad day. And people are like, nah, he didn't play well. And then you look at the stats and you watch the game again, you're like, this guy was incredible. Like, he's better than everyone else on the pitch. How are you, Alex? Thank you for watching. Lloyd says Dutch, Spanish final, England are dead. Interesting. Yeah, France as well, though France has not been playing well too either. Southgate is the luckiest man in the world. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching as always. Tomorrow, same time, there will be a couple of videos coming out between now and night time. I think before the Spain game, there will be 2 videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.